Jessica Annisberger, and this is the Action News for Kids Dairy Farm Quiz. Just how much do you really know about dairy farms and cows? Take the quiz. If you know a lot, you can show off. If you don't, you can learn. This is the Linwood Mearkle family farm in Bedford County. Linwood, his son Bryon, and daughter Amy have agreed to help us with the answers. I have the questions, and the first one's pretty basic. Where does milk come from? Well, I said it was basic, and you're right, it comes from cows. In fact, it comes from the cow's udders. Oh, yes, it does. The second question is pretty easy, too. Do brown cows give chocolate milk? No, they don't. And red cows don't give strawberry milk either. But don't get the idea that all the questions will be that easy. We'll ask about hay. What is it, and why do they make it when the sun shines, and how much does a cow eat every day? And what are the main dairy cow breeds in Pennsylvania? And how much milk does a cow give every day? Those questions and more right after this. Now wait a minute. We are going to use some banjo music on this program, but that doesn't mean that all farmers like banjo or bluegrass music. Some farmers and some cows like classical music. But the Mearkles like bluegrass music, so we thought we'd use some of it. We'll be right back. The next section of the Action News for Kids Dairy Farm Quiz. These questions are going to be about cows. What are the 5 major breeds of dairy cows? Maybe you know those black and white cows are Holsteins. And the others? Well, there are Jerseys, Guernseys, Brown Swiss, and Ayrshires. Milk from Jerseys is high in protein, while Holstein milk is low in butterfat. By the way, don't get Brown Swiss confused with dotted Swiss. That's fabric. Okay, next question. How many times do cows get milked each day?
We milk twice, once about 6 o'clock in the morning and about 4:30 in the afternoon. Every day, 7 days a week.
Once in a while you get a day off or a weekend off, but that's about it.
Next, how much milk will one cow produce in one day?
Our average cows are giving about 50 pounds of milk per day.
And what actually happens?
I've milked cows by hand, but thank goodness we don't have to anymore.
When you start out, you go into the milk house, you take all the milkers off their racks, and we attach the blue pulsator to it, which that'll run the electricity through the milkers. Then we hook up a pipe to the tank for the milk to come through and go into the tank. Then we take the milkers into the milking area itself and hook them all up. We turn on the switch and bring cows in, turn the milkers on, and put them on the cow.
Where does Mearkle milk go?
A lot of our milk's been going out to Ohio to cheese plants. They take some of it to Holly down at Lancaster for dried milk process, and they've been shipping milk all over because of the surplus of milk. Wherever they need to, wherever there's a dealer that needs milk, they send it there.
What's a co-op?
We belong to the Atlantic Dairy Cooperative. A co-op is made up of local dairy farmers that belong to a local organization or co-op that market their milk all together in one large quantity to a milk dealer. U.S. Health sets guidelines for sanitation and cleanliness. The surroundings have to have a neat, clean appearance. Bulk tanks and pipelines washed regularly, daily. It's just a real strict set of standards that you have to follow in order to be able to sell milk.
Well, what do cows eat to produce that milk?
On our farm, our cows get 20 to 25 pound of green ration a day. On average of 50 to 60 pound of hay a day. Pasture when there's pasture, but a year like this, there's no pasture right now, so we're feeding them everything they get. Corn silage, they can have all that they want, and lots of water, anywhere from 35 to 40 gallons of water a day.
All right, next question. How much will a full-grown Holstein weigh?
An average Holstein, 1,000 to 1250.
All right, next question. Why don't cows have horns?
Cows actually do have horns when they're calves, but at 3 to 4 weeks of age they are dehorned to make it safer for them. If they get to fighting, they won't cut one another up with their very sharp horns.
Next question. What is a heifer?
A heifer is a female dairy animal that has not yet went into milk production. She could be an open heifer, which means she hasn't been bred. A bred heifer is a heifer that is expecting to have a calf, but hasn't went into milk production yet.
A heifer is a cow that hasn't had a calf yet. That means she's not giving milk either, because a cow won't give milk until she's given birth. Well, now that we've got the cows giving birth, that brings a bull into the picture. But why does the bull have a ring in his nose?
It just makes them a whole lot more easy to manage, and they're a lot safer that way. A lot of farm accidents are caused by bulls on the farm. They're a very dangerous animal.
Just a couple of more cow questions. How long will a cow produce milk?
Anywhere from 8 to 10 years for a cow would be an average for a cow on our farm.
And one more cow question, a classic one. How many stomachs does a cow have?
Well, a cow actually only has one stomach, but it's divided up into 4 sections. It's so hard for a cow to digest food, so therefore it keeps regurgitating and bringing it up and chewing on it for a while, and then it sends it back down.
Well, we could just chew on that for a while, but it's a sunny day and the Mearkles are making hay. We'll find out why they make hay while the sun shines right after this. How are you doing so far on the Action News for Kids Dairy Farm quiz? Have you gotten everything right? Tell the truth now. We think these questions are pretty hard for people who don't live on a farm. For instance, what's this crop?
Oats. We combine the oats and then we put it in a storage area and mix it with corn and the other feed and feed it to the cows.
Here's a simple one that can be tricky. What's the difference between hay and straw?
On the left we have a slice of timothy, clover, brome grass, hay. On the right we have a slice of oat straw. It's the straw, the stem of the oats stalk that you sow to combine the oats to get the grain to grind into the grain ration, and the straw is what's left over. You bale that into, you can round bale it or square bale it and use it for bedding for under the animals in the wintertime. We bale anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 bales of straw each year. In hay, last year we baled 12,000 bales of hay. It won't be that many this year due to the drought.
We use about all our grain. In a real good year, we might have a little surplus that we'd sell, but we don't make a business of selling anything. We sold a little hay last year, but I'm sure we won't sell any this time.
So when a farmer makes hay, it may be alfalfa, orchard grass, timothy, or maybe clover. But why make it when the sun shines?
Well, we make hay while the sun shines because you have to have your hay dry in order to put it in the barn to keep it from molding. It'll mold and get hot. It'll get dusty. The cattle won't eat it. So you have to have it dry in order to keep it in good proper condition for the animal to take it into their body and make good use of it.
And here's an important question. What can wet hay do?
If it's too wet, it'll get real hot. Spontaneous combustion can start and in the end result, burn your barn down.
Who helps when a farmer makes hay?
Well, making hay is pretty much a family thing. My dad does the mowing, my brother or sister-in-law sometimes do the raking, or dad does that too once in a while. And then dad does the baling while my brother is taking wagons back and forth, and the rest of us are here unloading it, taking it off the wagons and putting it in the miles. Well, first of all, my dad goes out and they mow it down, and you might let it lay for a couple hours or so to let the sun dry the top of it out. And then we rake it, and the raking process throws the hay into the windrows, and that gives the sun a chance to dry it and go through and dry the rest of the hay, so it's really good and dry. And then maybe the next day, or however well the sun is or the weather is, we'll go out and bale it. And we bale with square bales, so we'll bale it and put it on wagons and then bring it back here or wherever we have the storage place to store it and unload it.
farmers make round bales of hay that weigh anywhere from 1,200 to 1,800 pounds, rather than the smaller square ones.
Well, round bales, a lot less labor in storing the hay. They can roll them up and park them out along the edge of the field, along a fence row somewhere out of the way. Square bales are a little easier to put in the barn and store. It depends on your feeding setup that you have. If you have a real handy way to feed round bales that there's not much waste to it, that would be the economical way to go. Square bales are a little more handier if you have to carry them to a certain part of the barn to feed the animals. It's just easier to get them to it.
What do farm kids actually do to help out on a farm?
At the age of 6, I can remember most of all saddling up the pony and going and bringing the cows in for them to start milking, and always bottle feeding calves. That's always been a chore for the younger people.
Remember that Bryon said that their cows eat 60 to 70 pounds of feed a day? That's corn, feed, liquid protein, and hay. Take that times 60 cows, and what do you get? 60 times 70 is 4,200 pounds of feed the farmer handles every day, 365 days of the year. And when you multiply that, it comes to over 1.5 million pounds of feed. Where does that much feed come from? Farmers grow it and buy it, but that much feed starts to represent money.
$77 an acre to plant our corn this spring. 80 acres. That's everything, spray materials, fertilizer, planting, spraying, the complete package, $77 an acre.
And actually, farmers handle most of that at least twice. Once when they grow it and once when they feed it. And they'll handle most of it again too. You know what I mean, manure for the fields.
Well, we hand scrape some of it. We have to scrape up the outback, and then we get the skid loader and we load it on a manure spreader and take it out to the fields.
And the machinery necessary to handle that much feed means money too. We'll find out just how much and where a dairy farmer's money comes from right after this break. But to give you an idea, dairy farming in Pennsylvania represents about $1.5 billion a year. $1.5 billion. That's a lot of cottage cheese. Time to find out what you know about the economics of dairy farming. Where does a dairy farmer's money actually come from?
Milk tank. The milk check is the big cash flow for the dairy farmer. You have a sideline income of calves from the cows, but the main flow of money is from the milk check itself.
It's cheapest it's been since about 1968.
Some farmers make some money by selling breeding stock, but mainly it's the milk. And where does the money go? Remember that equipment? What do you think a new John Deere grain drill, that's a planter, would cost? Or a John Deere 450 manure spreader? How about a John Deere 335 round baler? And a John Deere 1070 four-wheel drive tractor? Of course, a farmer doesn't have to buy new. Gary Leader sells used equipment.
Well, really, you can buy a used tractor. Take the 886, for example. You can buy that and equip it for what you have in just the tractor if you bought it new. If you can find something good, you know, it's still run you for years and years. The 886 is 1,900-hour tractor. It's 16.5, depending on the spreader. You know, I guess we have from 12 to 25, like that, 1,200 to 2,500. Depending on the combine, they run from about 5 to 14.5, what we have set in here.
Buying used means a farmer better be able to maintain his equipment and rebuild it too.
We try to do most of it ourselves. If we have something major, well, we get someone to come in and help us out.
The welding I learned in school, I had a real good VOAG educator, Mr. Paul Clark, and he was one of the finest welding teachers in this country. And if you didn't learn anything else in VOAG class, you learned how to weld, and that has really paid off for me today.
But what does a farmer do about insurance?
It's really tough to get good insurance for farmers because it is a high-risk group. But there are companies out there that will sell you insurance, but the premiums are kind of rough, which that adds into the cost of production again for the operation of the farm.
Many of the answers to our questions will vary a bit from farm to farm and breed to breed. But in the end, there's only one question. Can you sell the milk for more money than it costs to produce it? Sometimes some farmers can, and sometimes they can't. There are bigger questions too, about growing up on a farm and life in the country, but farmers answer those questions. We do hope the Action News for Kids Dairy Farm Quiz showed you that farming isn't simple, though it is a lot of very hard work. So the next time you raise a glass of milk, remember the cow and the farmer and the farm it came from. For Action News for Kids on the Dairy Farm, I'm Jessica Annisberger.